Good morning, world. And if you're waiting for someone else to say good morning, world, Brian is not here, as you can see. My man is hard at work. He's mending fences. He's putting up cabinets, shelving, herding cattle. He is doing a lot of stuff to make things happen at his home in Tennessee. So I'm running solo today. As we told you guys earlier, sometimes we talk about things, music reactions, but we talk a lot about culture and politics. And today, we're going to talk about an ex-NBA star who, in my opinion, says something really terrible. Stay tuned. All right, ladies and gentlemen, see my shirt here. And before you get too upset, I'm wearing it for a reason. Charles Barkley. Now, for me, I used to love, eat, sleep, breathe NBA basketball. The first thing I did in the morning is I open up the sports page and go through all the NBA stats, all the NFL stats, baseball scores. It was so huge. And in the mid-'80s, there was no more imposing of a presence on the basketball court than Charles Barkley. Known as the round mound of rebound, one of the 5 greatest power forwards that ever played this game. He lost a championship back in 92 or 93 to Michael Jordan and the Bulls. No shame there. Michael Jordan kept a lot of players from obtaining a championship. And he also led the Dream Team in scoring. That Dream Team we had in 92. A lot of people didn't know that. He led the team in scoring. He was incredible. He was awesome. And as you know Charles now, he stars on TNT with Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith. And they're like a bunch of guys who sit at the bar and they hang out and they talk about basketball, the games of the night. And just recently, he's been awarded a position with Gayle King, you know, Oprah's best friend. And I think the name of the show is called King Charles. And they talk about politics. Now, I'm not going to say something along the lines of shut up and dribble, but in this case, it may be justified. They were talking about a recent event where Trump was speaking. And he was talking about how the T-shirts that he was wearing that had his mugshot on there. You guys remember the mugshot? I don't know if Brian can put it up real quick. And how those T-shirts are selling like pancakes. Trump was making the statement that a lot of black people felt okay with it because now they're like, oh yeah, you know what? We've been wrong too, Donald Trump. We've had things go awry with us. Good for you. That's all he was saying. Charles Barkley said,
if I see a black person walking around with Trump mugshot, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Charles. Now, you don't see a lot of that because from the people on the right, because you guys remember a few years ago, our current commander-in-chief, he went on the Charlemagne the God show, and he made the statement of, if you don't know if you're going to vote for me or vote for Trump, you ain't black. People on the right lost their mind. It was ignored on the left. No big deal. Maybe he meant it. Maybe he didn't. Charles Barkley has recently backed away from that statement, saying, well, I didn't really mean I would punch him in the face. I would be very disappointed in them. But no, Charles, you said you would punch him in the face. And we live in America. We have the elections coming up in November, and people should have a right to vote for whoever they want to vote for. And you have too big of a platform to go around saying you're going to punch someone in the face because of who they choose to be their next president. And some of you are probably asking, Cedric, what did Trump, we get that in the comment section a lot. Cedric, what did Trump ever do for black people? I'm not so focused on what Trump did for black people. I'm concerned about what Trump did for American people. And he did a lot. It would take this entire show 20, 30, 45 minutes for me to go down all the accomplishments that Trump accomplished while he was in office. So we're going to put that link in the description box. It's not a link that Brian and I made up. Is something that comes from our very own White House about all the incredible things that Donald Trump did for black people, since that's the topic at hand, when he kept the funding going for HBCUs, when he met with Ice Cube and others to institute the Platinum Program. And who can forget when he came down that elevator that one day when he was going to run for president, and he stood on that podium and he looked black America in the eye and he said, what did you have to lose? Basically, he was saying was, you guys have been railroaded for so many years. Why don't you give me a shot? And on that episode of King Charles, Charles turns to his co-host, Gayle King, and he says, well, you know, there are some bad things that Trump did because, after all, they did storm the Capitol. No, they didn't. Charles, that is a terrible thing to say when the film has come out and it shows they didn't storm the Capitol. Was it wrong? Yeah, there were some violent actions and things went awry. Sadly, one life was lost. Ashley Babbitt, a diehard Trump reporter. But no one on the left seemed to acknowledge that. Charles Barkley also turned to his co-host, Gayle King, and said Trump had no right to say that he knows what black people are going through. He's been a billionaire pretty much his entire life. Charles, last time I checked, if it wasn't for your gambling debts and other irresponsible stuff, right now I think your net worth is around $60 million. It'd probably be twice that if you could control your gambling. Charles has said on numerous occasions, I've never had a job and I don't want one. That man hasn't had a job. I think he came out after his junior year at Auburn, signed that NBA contract, and he hasn't had a worry in the world except for the things that he's caused to himself. So it's just disgusting for Charles Barkley to say that, again, putting black people as a monolith, that there's no way that Donald Trump can relate to the black people. And I get so sick and tired of that statement because as Brian and I have said before, there's no such thing as the black experience or the white experience or the Hispanic experience. There's the Cedric experience. There's the Brian experience. There's the Charles Barkley experience. How many of our white listeners out there right now love to trade spots with Charles Barkley right now from a financial point of view? I'm sure a lot of you would. His experience has not been my experience. Would I love to put on a tank top and a pair of shorts and go visit pretty much every major city in America, go to Spain, go to different countries, got to shake hands with the president? Charles Barkley has been afforded so many incredible things through basketball that normal people like me will never get the chance to do, and yet he says Donald Trump doesn't know what people are going through. It just kind of bugged me. I know Brian and I, we've talked a few weeks about that we're going to not get away from the music reactions, but get back and talking about culture and politics and things that's going on like that. And so I just wanted to jump on here real quick. I called and say, hey, Brian, you think it'd be okay if I do this? And he goes, yeah, please do it. I'm doing other stuff at the house. Go ahead and knock it out. So Brian and I, we wanted to step away from the music reactions just a little bit. We're going to continue doing them, but we wanted to get back to our bread and butter, talking about culture and politics. The elections come up in November. So there's going to be a lot of things that are happening. We want to make sure we keep you guys in the know and give you our take on it. But Charles Barkley, that was terrible, terrible, terrible. And you get away with that a lot. And people say, oh, that's just Charles. If he says he's going to punch somebody in the face, he doesn't really mean it. What if Donald Trump were to say that? What if a Ben Shapiro were to say that? What if anybody who were a lighter shade of brown were to make that statement? The news media would eat it up. But because Charles Barkley said it, it's no big deal. I think one of the ex-WNBA players, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Cheryl Swoops, she said something about the new NCAA women's scoring champion, Caitlin Clark, that she can make statements whatever she wants to about Caitlin because, as you know, black people can't be racist. That is one of the biggest fallacies that I'm getting tired of hearing over and over again. If you have life in your bones, if you breathe air through your nostrils, you have the potential to be racist. It is not just based on what color skin you have. I've met black people who are racist against white people. I've met white people who are racist against black people. I've met Laker fans who are racist against Celtic fans. It doesn't matter. But anyway, we'll share that with you guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Was Charles Barkley out of pocket for making that statement? I'm going to start wearing this shirt around, actually, because I would love for Charles Barkley to punch me in the face because I would come up big time. I wouldn't be like Chris Rock when he got slapped by Will Smith and just walk away. I would be getting paid. So, Charles Barkley, if you want to show this on TNT and you want to stand in front of there and take a punch, you can reach out to me. But anyway, hope you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell, and continue sharing our channel with everyone you know from California to Tennessee and all across the world. Until next time, this is Cedric of Cedric and Brian. Take care.